Hi guys, welcome back to OffBrand with OnBrand.
Podcast where we talk about business, branding, motherhood, and the messy moments in between. Those are my favorite. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back to OffBrand with OnBrand. Today we have a very special guest. Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Diane.
How are you? Thanks for being on the podcast with us.
Very welcome. I'm honored to be here.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, Grandma.
Welcome, Flo.
Yeah, Grandma, I think that you're becoming Flo's grandma just by association.
Yeah, that's
with
it.
the
I'm
person.
adopted.
She's an adopted family member. I'm so excited to be here today with my grandma, Linda Ebani, somebody I look up to and admire for so many reasons. And we are so excited to have her on the podcast today to share a little bit about her story and maybe some lessons that you could take away from it like I do too.
So, Diane,
Hi, Grandma.
your mother always tells me that you don't take after her. You're definitely a combination of your two grandmas, Linda Ebani and Diane Azrak. A very, very combustible combination.
Thanks.
Grandma Diane always told me, when you know me, you know I'm bossy, but in a good way.
Diane is
But in a
bossy.
good way. And Diane, you definitely have a little bit of that.
Okay.
And you have determination and you have resilience. And I think you get that from me. And you're a lot of fun. I mean, we have a special relationship.
We do.
And Annie was 20 when Diane was born, and she was finishing out NYU. I insisted. I told her, we are not quitters, Annie. You are going to finish NYU. You have to tell your kids you completed it. Stern School of Business. You're not quitting. So I took Diane on.
Really?
And
She
I
bathed me in
spent
the sink.
a lot of time
No
with
way.
her.
Yeah.
Yes. I took Diane on, and we had a
She fed me. Thanks, Grandma.
I fed her, definitely. We had a very, very special relationship and a very close one. And Diane was my only granddaughter for 18 years. After Diane was born, 9 boys came, and I kept waiting for my name. And where is my name? And my husband said, the next one is going to be your name, but it wasn't. So I used to call Diane my one and only. Now I have 2 and only. I have a Linda and a Diane, but
Wow.
they're both my pride and joy.
Grandma, remember the time when you posted me my wedding dress?
Oh, no.
Wait, what?
Oh.
What do you mean?
Oh, my God. That's...
There was too many
don't
funny
know how
stories. Or the
funny
time where
that
like I
is.
lost my blanket and I left it at home to go to Center Sleepaway, and my grandma came and I was on a bus with boys. I was like, I don't know, 12, 13, like boys. And all of a sudden, we held up all of the coach buses, and
Your
my grandma
blanket?
came out the window waving the blanket. I found your blankie.
It's
I
so
knew
nice that
she
you even
needed
drove
it.
I
there to
think I
give it
almost
to
died.
her.
I knew she needed
But
it.
Oh my
like that's the
God.
definition of who you are. Like you came through, but like you know.
Oh, but posting her in her wedding dress, this was
Yeah,
a
that
nightmare.
was-
Wait, what
this
happened?
is a
What happened?
nightmare story. Okay,
Nightmare.
so I am learning my way through
Social media?
social media. Okay, I had to teach myself how to type because the city of New York, you have to email them. Okay, and you know I didn't know how to type at the time when I started the Civic Association 20 years ago. I had to learn how to email one finger at a time, and
We went shopping.
we went shopping
At Kleinfeld's.
and I videoed Diane in her wedding dress, and she had a big D on her chest. You know that Grandma Diane gave her an initial D, so
So
knew
you could tell
her.
it was me.
You knew it was her. And I don't know how this happened. Okay, the night before Rosh Hashanah, we're going to shul that next morning to pray.
I don't even have a wedding date.
Elliot, my son-in-law, comes over to me, and he's so diplomatic. I adore him. And he tells me, Mom, you know, there's a little bit of a problem. And I said, what happened, Elliot? What's wrong? Oh, no, Mom, Diane's a little upset. I said, but what do you mean? Well, you know, you posted Diane trying on her wedding dress on your story. I said, oh, my God. And Pauletti, her friend, called her and told her
Thank you, Paulette.
that she's on social media on your story.
In a wedding dress. I was not engaged. The wedding wasn't booked. I barely talked to the people. Morris
Her
just
hair
sent me
was
my
a
first
mess.
bouquet of flowers. Happy holiday. And had these on Instagram. I'm on Instagram in a wedding dress. And it was left up for many hours because it was the holiday. So it wasn't like it was an immediate delete because
I compliment Diane on talking to me after that.
Grandma, I love
that
you.
was pretty bad. That was
There was a couple more
bad faux
questionable
pas.
posts to
But it
come,
was
but
unintentional. I need lessons.
Oh my God, Azita, she didn't know she put it
she
there.
didn't know. But I was on a wet, so I couldn't wear that dress. So whatever, it made the decision a lot easier because that one couldn't come. So
oh my
thank you.
God. Oh my God, that's
I think-
great. I'm so happy to have Grandma Linda on the podcast. It's so nice meeting you, and you really raised a great granddaughter.
Wow.
And
keep
I'm
her.
sure a lot of people could learn a lot from you. So please, I guess, give us a little bit about you, your background, how you grew up.
Okay, I'm honored to be here and to be invited onto this podcast by Diane and Flo, and I admire what they do. I grew up in New York City. I'm a New York City girl, and I come from a very large family of 11 children, and I look upon my family as a movement. Each member of the family are so individual and dynamic and move mountains in our community. I respect and admire all of them, and I'm very close to them. And it's definitely defines who I am.
Could we say who the family is?
My family is the Ajmi family. We're 6 girls and 5 boys. My brother Harry Ajmi is very well known in our community and in the philanthropic world, even outside our community. And I believe that my family has been doing community service that has made a very big difference in our community.
So Diane mentioned to me that while you were growing up, you lost your mom when you were young. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how you were able to move past that and grow from that experience?
Being like a young mom through all of
exactly.
that.
Yeah, I was 26 years old when my mom contracted breast cancer. This was 50 years ago. And at that time, there was very little they could do for you. And it took her 18 months to die in front of our eyes. And it was definitely shaped who I became. I don't think I would be the person I am today if it wasn't for that life-changing episode. My mother was a very dynamic woman. She raised 11 children, and she was very well-read. She spoke 5 languages. She was brilliant, and
Wow.
we relied on her for everything. And as a young mother with, at the time, 3 children, living in Deal, New Jersey, in the Deal community, it was very hard to be long distance from my family. I felt very adrift. And when my mom became ill, she decided and chose me as the one that was going to carry on the family traditions. I was living in Deal, New Jersey. She was in and out of the hospital. And when she was home, she would say, "I'm coming to stay by you this weekend." And I would say, "Mom, you want to leave your bed and come to my house in Deal, New Jersey to sleep by me?" "Yes, I want to teach you how to make knishes. I want to teach you how to make chicken pot pie. I'm going to teach you this week how to make sambusak. And when I'm gone, you'll carry on and you'll make the holidays for the family." And it was awe-inspiring to see that she was so devoted to the family, even till the very end. She definitely taught me 3 things, 3 life lessons that I want to pass on to you. One of them is resilience, how to overcome hard and devastating situations. The other one is trust, how you need to have trust in the people that support you and that surround you. And the third one I would think would be community service, how to give back. When so much is taken from you, it's healing to be able to give back. And my life in community service began when my mother died. As busy as I was cooking for the family, she died 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. And grieving, I was able to produce a gigantic Rosh Hashanah holiday and meals for 25 people of my siblings.
Wow.
A lot of them were married. We all wanted to be together at my father's house. I moved into my father's house and I made the holidays for them.
How old was your youngest sibling?
My youngest
that
sibling
time.
was 11 years old when my mother passed on. And one of
So you
my
were really
brothers
raising
was
full kids.
14 years old.
How'd you keep everyone close?
I think that our religion and our community teaches our people how to be close. Every month there's a holiday. Every month there's another event, a birthday or an anniversary, and we would get together. Certain people in our family would be responsible for making these giant get-togethers, which were very, very detailed and difficult.
Yeah.
I once had 87 of my family members for a lunch on a holiday.
You
And
cooked
that
for
was only-
87 people?
Yes.
It's not
My
easy.
pots are gigantic.
Wow.
And that was only half my family because we're
that's-
many more than 87. But at this holiday, only 87 could come.
Only.
So do you recommend that to keep your family close, someone has to step up to the plate and make
Somebody
sure
has
that
to
you're
take
having
it on.
the get-togethers? Because it's very easy as the family grows to drift. It's too many people. Let's do it just by
Also,
our
with work,
house.
everybody has their own family with their own needs, and you had to put the rest of your family before even your kid, like everything. You had to take that on. There was other siblings that could have done it, but you rose to the occasion.
I had to step up. Somebody had to step up. It had to be done. When a family loses a parent, a mother especially, it's very easy to drift apart. Everyone has their own children, their own grandchildren, and it's very easy to drift apart. And this is not something that my parents would have wanted. And you have to also keep in mind that my father was much older than my mother. He never thought she would die before him. He was 75 when she died at 51.
Oh my God.
Wow.
He needed care.
With an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Correct. He got married late in life.
Wow.
So you lived with them, with your kids?
I did not live with them. I lived in New Jersey, and I used to drive in 3 times a week to fill my father's freezer and make sure there was food for the week and keep in touch with them. And through holidays, also make holidays. It definitely took a lot of my time. My kids were little, and I definitely had to learn how to multitask. And it was very good because it taught me a life lesson that helped me in my future. So I think if I didn't learn all of that when that happened, I never would have been able to go on and accomplish some of the things that I did.
Was there ever a time where you said, like, why me? Why does this have to happen? Or
I said it every day. Every day I would look around to my friends and say, why me? How come I don't have a mother? I'm only 26. They all have mothers. Why is it me? But I realize that God has a reason for everything, and he directs our lives. And I once heard someone say that a very straight line kind of life is very boring, and my life has been a roller coaster. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and every one of those ups and downs taught me something and shaped me into who I am. So I was never afraid of a big job. I never let it stop me. If I had a big job to do, I would organize myself, I would do my homework, and I would tackle it. I'd get my friends involved, I'd get my family members involved, and it was just a conglomeration of everyone around me. And I think my friends could tell you I've sucked them into so many things because of the things that I believe in.
Dana's signing people up to vote.
Yes, exactly.
Dana does her hair. Shout out to Dana. And she's signing up to people, signing people up to vote.
So I have to tell you that really I live my life passionately. I don't live my life just plodding through. I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm a results-based person. I want to see results at the end of the day if I'm going to put my time and effort towards something. So that could be community service. It could be starting a civic association because I saw a rat and bat yam. It could be...
Oh, Lord.
It could be so many things that I could tell you that I began from just an innocent incident, you know.
I
And
want
with
to
your
shift.
personality, you're able to bring people along for the journey, so they all help you.
I don't know how I do it. I really don't know how I do it, but I try to attract, people to my causes, And if you really believe in something, if you really take a stand on something, you're the real McCoy. People see that. People see that you really care. And they start to look at it and say, this must be very worthy. Look how much
agree.
she cares. You know, she's the real deal. And you know what? I would like to be part of that. And I think that attracts people.
It's also hard to shoot someone down when you see how much they're putting into it. It's just like you just want to keep them, you want to keep it going.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
That too.
When
Absolutely.
you see so much effort and work.
Absolutely.
So a message to everyone would be like, step up and be a leader
If you
Yes.
can.
if you can.
If that's your role, if you're able, I always say God gave me the gift, and I wanted to use my gift to better my life and the life of those around me. And my family is very, very important to me. They are supreme in my attention. And then my sisters and brothers are extraordinarily important to me. And I would say the third element of that is my community. I definitely feel very connected to my community. And I want to see my community excel and be better than they are. And if I could bring them along with something that I'm doing, I'm going to share it with them. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to take a risk. So I think those three things really direct my life.
I want to shift also a little bit to motherhood because we talked so much about your role with your siblings and your own mother, but then shifting now towards you being a young mother. You had 3 kids,
Four kids.
4
Including
kids, but 3
twins.
kids
One
relatively
set of
quickly.
twins. Yeah. Yeah.
And kind of how your experience that, like how you were able to mother into all this, because like it's not easy. Me and Flo are in the pits right now where we have these young kids, and it's a lot.
I had 4 young children, and I had a husband that was building a business for our family that required him to be away in China collectively 4 or 5 months a year.
Wow.
So it was difficult because many of those months I was alone and directing the kids on my own. I think you have to really understand your children and you have to understand who they are. And you can't impose who you are upon them. You have to let them be the best version of their self.
I love that.
And that's the hardest thing a mother could learn.
It's very hard.
It's so difficult because you want to impose your idea of how they should be and how they should grow up. You are a guide. You're there to shape. And if you do that correctly, you're going to shape amazing children. You've got to really talk to them. Each child has great potential and great talents. You've got to talk to them. You've got to seek out those talents and you've got to bring them out and bring them along. And that's what makes a great family and a great mother.
I love that. And you were stocking 2 freezers, not just one.
Stocking 2 freezers.
Alone.
Busy all the time.
Wow.
Had
I don't
children
even
coming
understand.
home from Hillel Yeshiva and had 3 tarts at one time coming out of the oven.
Love
and
that.
just really, really very busy. I had a very busy life.
So how'd you have time to like take care of yourself?
Yeah. Did you take care of
Did
yourself?
you-
Like,
did you have-
how did you even? Where
I
was your
think-
mental health?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I never thought about mental health. I never thought, I look at people that think every day about their mental health and say, oh my God, they're so neurotic. Who has time to think about being neurotic
help.
when there's so much work to do?
There's so much to get done. It's
I'm
true.
work driven. I am definitely
How do you not burn out?
driven. I have a lot of energy. I was born with a very high energy level. It runs in my family.
Yeah, Diane has it.
I have the energy level, but there's definitely a burnout when you're giving to everybody around you, and it's like
At
you
the
just
end
need
of
a second
some
of the day to
days,
be
I
like, whoa.
collapse.
Yeah.
At the end of some days or weeks,
Holidays.
I work until I collapse. Or I work until I have to go to my doctor and tell him I'm sick as a dog and I can't get through the first night of Passover. I have fever. That is who I am. Nobody asks it of me. My wonderful husband doesn't ask it of me. It's who I am. I ask it of myself.
Yeah.
I think that you have to ask yourself, who do I want to be? What changes do I want to make for my family? How do I want to direct them? What kind of a legacy am I leaving? I think one of the important lessons people learn when they lose a loved one, any kind of grief, is how you're going to go forward, how you're going to carry on. And it definitely teaches you about legacy. Now they are gone. It's my turn to make a difference. It's my turn to leave a legacy. I do think about that a lot, especially now in the last third of my life. I think about my legacy. Who am I leaving? I tell my grandchildren all the time, you are my future. You're the ones who are going to carry on for me. My mother told us that before she died. I left you each other. Together, you can do anything.
So what's some advice you would give people in their 20s or 30s to start like doing things for their legacy?
Also that are maybe like, I wouldn't say it's directed to anybody, but like I think as a generation we're a little caught up.
It's true.
Very about, what we look like and social media.
We're too
and,
caught up.
The fashion. And I don't think legacy and those deeper things you're talking about are really on the minds of people in their younger stages.
And it's overwhelming to think, like,
Yeah.
what should, let's say, people do on a daily or weekly or yearly to, like, help them build something, if there is an answer.
It depends on what you're interested in. It depends on what floats your boat. I was always interested in cooking. I'm a foodie, and I always had an audience, a great audience that loved everything I turned out. So it encouraged me more. So being a foodie, I would watch every single food program, some that you never heard of. I would record them. I have stacks of cookbooks, and I never made the recipe in the cookbook, but I always adapted it. And to me, it was a creative process, and it was very, very relaxing. Cooking is therapy to me.
So that was your self-help cooking.
Yes,
something.
someone else might think of it as a chore. I really thought of it as relaxation, even though it's exhausting and you stand on your feet till I have a baker's cyst behind one of my knees. They
Lord.
call
But
it
you still do
a
get-
baker's cyst because bakers get it from standing on their feet for hours and hours making cakes. So
But that's definitely your creative outlet. I've seen so many things where we go out to a restaurant or we're traveling and you take something that you saw and then come back and experiment with how to get it right. So
travel is definitely, and I think I passed this on to Diane.
Yes.
Travel is definitely one of my passions. So my husband's business was an importing business, and it took us around the world.
Fun.
And when I say around the world, I mean the Great Wall of China I walked on, and the markets of Istanbul I walked through, and Paris 120 times, and every part of Italy, so much so that I learned Italian because we went to Italy so often and I wanted to communicate with the people. So I took Italian lessons for 3 years. And I love travel. And when I travel, I learn something. I'm taking pictures of the food we're eating, or the restaurant we're sitting in, or the banister in a Hong Kong shop that I wanted to incorporate into my new home that I'm building. So for me, travel was very, very inspiring. And we would be going away, let's say to Milan. And I would tell my husband, well, there's nothing open in Milan on Sunday. We're going to take a day trip. Well, where are we going to go? We're going on the train 35 minutes away from Milan to a town called Stresa. Nobody ever heard of it. I told so many of my friends to go there after. We went there several times. And there's 3 little islands outside of Stresa. One is the Isla Pescatori, Isla Madre, and we would go and visit them by boat, and each place would impart something new and something I would learn. So I would learn from my traveling, for sure. It was a passion.
I
Love
definitely think I picked that up from you.
You did, 100%.
But also like loving to learn, loving to experience life and get
Always
new,
love to learn. I believe
find out new
life
things.
is a series of endings and new beginnings. So many things in my life ended, and then I started again, and I had a new beginning. And it definitely is about learning and wanting to learn. And I think as a young mother, you should be wanting to learn as much as you can, and then you should be imparting that to your husband and your children. I helped my husband build his business. I was supportive. I ran the family when he was away. I handled so many things that he wasn't present to handle, but always had the confidence to know I was there. It was teamwork. Together, we did it together.
I love that. So talking about marriage, you've been married for over 50 years. What's the secret to staying together and happy?
Okay, so my husband was my childhood sweetheart, and I always say we were soulmates. I was 19 and he was 20 when we got married. And we had so many challenges, and so early on. I mean, I was blessed with a twin birth from where I don't know. There's not a lot of twins in my family. And all of a sudden, my second pregnancy, we're having twins. And my husband was 23 years old.
Wow.
And we couldn't even afford to have twins. We were struggling to pay our rent. And now we're having 3 babies. It was definitely daunting and overwhelming. But we together, we overcame every challenge. Together, supporting each other. You know, I didn't have everything I wanted. I didn't have every pair of shoes that my friends might have had or the fanciest cars. It was never important to me. I always focused on what was important, not what everyone else was doing, what we needed to do together. I still live that. I live my life. I can't live everyone else's life. And I think that everyone, especially in our community, could get sidetracked. Oh, I'm on Instagram. Look, that friend took this trip and went to that place, and I would like to be doing that. You're doing what you're meant to be doing, what God, you're walking the path that God wants you to walk. That's your journey. You have to focus on your own journey. You can't focus on everybody else's journey.
So focused on being the skinniest and wearing the designer.
It's not important.
Yeah.
It's not
Then
important.
all of these
Everybody
things come
thinks they
last.
have to be a supermodel.
Yeah.
Are we making a movie? We're not making a movie. We don't have to be a supermodel. That shouldn't be the focus of your life. The focus of your life is your children. They are your legacy. Your husband. How happy is he? How devoted is he to you? That should be the focus of your life. More important things. I think that our younger generations are distracted by so much social media, by so much TV and movies and celebrities. I never, ever respected a celebrity. Most of them come from trailer park trash. And they wish they came from the family you have.
True.
They're not grounded. A lot of them are scarred. So what am I running after a celebrity for? I mean, it never impressed me.
How did you even start? Because I know there's the early beginnings of the PTA that and all of these things. You were the founder of the Chinese auction. So I want to go back all the way to that. How did you start to get involved within your community?
So after my mother passed, I wanted to give back because I wanted to raise her neshama. I wanted to do something to help her, but it also helped me. It gave me a direction. So I was president of the PTA for 2 years, 1982 to 1984 of Hillel Yeshiva. And I read in an article about a B'nai B'rith in Long Island that made a Chinese auction with books. And knowing our community and how material-based they could be, I said, wouldn't this be a great idea? But instead of books, why not make it a raffle for all the items that attract our
So you were the
community?
first one to do a Chinese auction?
I was the first one to do it.
Wow.
And Rabbi Dweck and Rabbi Diamond and Mr. Ashkenazi and Morris Franco were present at the board meeting, which I asked to be part of. They invited me to come after I made the first Chinese auction in the afternoon with a bunch of ladies, and I made $6,000 with a bunch of ladies.
Unreal.
So I said, I'd like to come to the board meeting. They invited me to come, and they said, well, what is a Chinese auction? And I literally took a box, and I put it in front of an item, and I said, it's like a raffle for 100 items. And they said, it's a great idea. Like, how much do you think you could make? I said, well, given the right amount of items, I think we could make $50,000. They looked at me like I was crazy. They couldn't believe it. They said, okay, we're willing to try. We're going to assign somebody to work with you from our board. He's going to help you get the items that we're going to raffle off. And you put together this whole organization of the event. Okay, we had our first event in the Deal Shul.
Wow.
And we advertised it all over the community.
Wow.
PR. And we bussed people from Sharet Zion to come to deal for this
Wow.
event.
I had no idea of this whole story.
This Chinese auction, okay? And the community loves entertainment and they love gambling. And they love the chance, to take a chance to win something. So they were very, very engaged. And we got a lot of people to come. The Deal Shul donated their space, their room, and we set it up. And I was on the microphone and we were hawking all of the items. And we had a refrigerator from Crazy Eddie, and we had a watch from whoever. And we had a lot of great items. And when we hit the $50,000 mark, the people behind the board members started to wave to me. We surpassed the $50,000 mark, which was unheard of. It was unheard of.
To raise charity.
To raise that kind of money in one night, in one event. I went on to make 8 Chinese auctions for Hillel Yeshiva.
Wow.
And we raised several $1 million, which helped the yeshiva build the new building that they are in today.
Wow.
And I felt very, very proud of what we were able to accomplish with a small core committee. And Rabbi Dweck at the time told me, every Chinese auction that goes on from here on, you get part of the blessing of the mitzvah. And I said, I want that to go to my mother. Let it raise her neshama. So that's where I began. And, I moved back from New Jersey. We were called the Pioneers. We were like 400 or 500 people that lived here in the Deal community. And at some point after 14 years, my husband was commuting. My children were growing up and going into New York University. And I wanted to move back. I wanted to be near my family. I needed my family. They really are a very strong system of support for me. And I told my husband, I want to move back to Brooklyn, but I want to live where I grew up. I was born on the corner of Avenue T and Ocean Parkway before Sharet Zion was built. It was a gas station.
What?
And then it was a hole in the ground where we used to play as kids. And then they built Sharet Zion. So I said, I want to live on Ocean Parkway. I want to go home. And we were able to rent a house half a block away from where I was born. And my father would walk down and have Saturday breakfast with me every single Saturday. And I moved back to New York. And I continued my efforts towards community service when I moved back. So I went to work and this is purely volunteer. I never made $1 from any of my
God bless.
My volunteer work. I went to work at the Sephardic Community Center, and I believed in the center and what it did for our community, and I became a board member. I was a sitting board member for 22 years of the community center, and I made a ton of fundraisers, fashion shows in the World Trade Center, and all kinds of different fundraisers that we were able to pull together for the community center. And I started the Gita Sultan Culinary Kitchen because I'm interested in cooking. And we went so far as to go to Williams-Sonoma outlet store in Riverhead, New York, and stock the kitchen. We raised all the money for the pots and the pans, and I gave cooking classes to whoever would want to come to raise money for the kitchen. I did community service there. But I think my greatest accomplishment and my greatest legacy has to come from starting the one and only, to this day, civic association in our community, and it's called the Kings Highway Beautification Association.
Wow, you do. You're
It's the community.
Oh my God.
I don't know how you're making fresh kibbeh bowls when you're running 17 organizations and all of the other things that you do. It's just so inspiring.
So you would say to yourself, why does our community need a civic association? Our community needs a civic association because that is how you speak to your government. And what does your government do for you? Well, your government has a very big pen, and they have a lot of dollars that you can garner for your community. And so I always felt that our community did not have the proper parks. Our parks were sorely, sorely in need of repair. Our park on McDonald Avenue was a dog run for dogs to come,
Yes, it was.
and
I grew up,
no
but that's where it
child
was.
would want to play there. It had 14-foot fences. It reminded me of being in a prison yard. I played there when I was a kid. And since
Across the street from your mom.
Yeah, I used to always go
1948,
there.
it did not see $1 of repair. And you would say, well, how come Coney Island has a $40 million Kaiser playground? And how come Avenue S got $20 million to renovate their park? Why don't we have it in our community? And the answer to that question is no one ever asked. No one asked. Our community never engaged.
I just think that maybe we thought it was just like it should come. Somebody was going to do it.
It doesn't come. You have to engage your political elected officials to get these perks for your community. And this is something that was a mission on my part. A mission. It became a mission. It took me 4 years to incorporate a 501c3 non-for-profit pro bono association.
How'd you know how to do all these things?
Okay, so the councilman, it seems, at that time, he grew up in my house. He was the same age as my brothers.
Who's the
He was an
councilman?
Italian kid. His name was Dominic Recchia, an Italian kid. He said, I knew your mother. I grew up in your house. She always had the
just
best
small
snacks for us. I ran around with your brothers. And we became friends. And he
Great.
said, I said, listen, Dominic, this has got to change. Our community, it looks like the South Bronx. Kings Highway looks like the South Bronx. We have graffiti everywhere. There's broken windows. There's broken gates. There's bills posted on every pole. There's weeds growing out of every sewer. Something has to be done. This is unacceptable. And he said, well, I'm going to teach you how to incorporate and become a 501c3. And then as a civic association, you can converse with the city of New York. They're not going to talk to Linda Ebani, one individual. They're going to talk to a civic association. So we became a civic association and we engaged. I had the commissioner of sanitation for coffee in my kitchen. We invited him. Please come. Walk down Kings Highway with us and come and have coffee by us. And I think they saw someone that really had passion. You have to understand that our association is run by residents. Not $1 is paid out to any of them. It's a purely volunteer. Every dollar we raise from the city goes into the betterment of our neighborhood. So it's not only a Syrian association, it's an association for everyone that lives in that area, in that community. And in 20 years, we expanded to Avenue P. We've included Avenue U, and now Avenue J has jumped on and joined. And we're working together to make all those neighborhoods cleaner, work better. We have relationships with the DOT. We have relationships with the Parks Commissioner, and they know us, and we're able to get what no one else can get. So the mental health center called me, and they said, for 2 years, we're trying to get bike racks. They're $6,000 a rack. They have to be put into cement, and we can't get anywhere. Can you help us? In 30 days, they had bike racks.
Wow.
We know who to call. They had the bike racks that they deserve. I always loved learning, and I love reading. And I think I imparted that to my kids. And I was an English major in Brooklyn College. And I was always a top student in Lincoln High School. And I think communication skills comes from having a good vocabulary and reading. And part of it is you're born with it. Part of it is that you have the ability to influence people and convince them. And I think the other part of it is really caring. If you really care about what you're talking about, people will respect you and believe you. People will say, you know, she has a point. She really cares. Rats are crawling all over Kings Highway. We need to do something. We got to make it better. So we put together a small committee of neighborhood residents, One of them was Morris Mystery. He was a lawyer. He helped us get the 501c3 and the Bijots that own restaurants on Kings Highway and different families that lived and bordered Kings Highway. And we started to go out to our elected officials and we started to engage them and make relationships. Building relationships is important. It is. When people start to see that you're someone that can be respected, that you have a good word, that you believe in what you're doing, you will garner attention. You will convince people to your cause. I believe that. I really do. So going on to the park, I believe my legacy, definitely one of my legacies, is the McDonald Avenue playground that I
Love it.
so sorely wanted
Thank you
improvement
so much.
for.
Thank you.
On behalf of all of the moms
And the
Maggie
children.
David,
I-
who uses it as a recess yard.
It's great.
But
My
we go
great
there all the time.
grandchildren play in that park.
They do.
And they go every day. And to me, that really, Diane sends me pictures
All the
of
time.
my great grandsons playing in the park, and I post them because it makes me
It makes
so
such a big
proud
difference
of
to
the
people growing
efforts.
up to have that kind of space. If I had nowhere to take these boys with all this energy, and they
can
made
run
friends
around.
at the park, it's part of their whole like childhood.
So you would
So
say,
important.
how did I get $14 million from our government for the park?
Wow,
Because
go
it
you.
takes money to build the park, okay? And it's not only relationships, but it's money and it's government money. So how do you attract that kind of money to your park? So the next councilman that came on, his name was Mark Traeger, and he's a wonderful man. He came from the education department, a very smart man. And we developed a relationship. And he told me, I wish I had 50 people like you running 50 civic associations in my neighborhood. You are the real McCoy. You believe in what you do. And I said, Mark, it's for my community, and I want this park. And for 7 years, he was our councilman. And for 7 years, I was asking, I want the park. I want the park. Every time we would have another
Meeting.
meeting or another crisis. We had a crisis about the bus lane. The DOT decided they want to make Kings Highway a bus lane.
We started a protest.
I started a protest. I organized a protest, and 600 of our community members came out, and we made
Would you
signs.
say it's important? Like, I'm not someone that's going to be in front organizing the protest, and I'm not someone that's like eager to go to protests. How important is it for people to get up and show up to protest?
It's
Or
important.
anything that
Or
has a
anything.
So
cause.
important to show up.
Sometimes I get
It's
lazy.
so, if you
but-
don't want to organize the protest, that's okay. And if you don't want to use your social media, how did we get the word out? I put everyone on my committee that had 5,000 followers or more on social media. And we blasted social media.
I called the news.
We blasted them until we got the word out to our community. But even if you're not the one who's going to do that, if you show up to support the people that are doing it, that counts too. That counts. The 500 people that came out and supported the protest against the bus lane, which would have changed our neighborhood forever. Our neighborhood would not have those mom and pop stores and would not look the way it looks today.
It would be a
If there was
highway.
no parking on that street and there was nowhere for the
You can't
people.
go to Slices with your kids if there's a bus lane and you can't
Yeah.
park.
Sure.
And the old age home on the block would not be able to cross the street
Randy's
with the bus
Care.
lanes.
Yeah.
It would be disastrous.
Yeah.
So we stopped it. So I think that the councilman, through all of the different crises we had, started to see that I was someone to be reckoned with. And he had to reckon with me.
I love that.
And he was terming out and he wanted his successor to be elected. And he came to me and he said, look, can you help my successor get elected? And I said, well, what's in it for me, Mark? And he said,
And
well,
our
what do you
community,
want?
yeah.
I said, well, I would like to see McDonald Avenue Playground become a premier park
Wow.
for our community. And he said, okay, see what you could do. So I got my committee. I sucked in all my friends and anybody that would do it. And I took tables out of my basement and I put them into my trunk of my car. with chairs.
Well, great.
And we went to the Board of Elections and we got forms, thousands of forms that were in my basement, and pens. We set up tables in front of Ori. We set up tables in front of the Sephardic Community Center. We set up tables in front of Sharet Zion. I got permission from all of these people to allow me to put these tables there. And I put volunteers there. And in 2 weeks, we signed up 3,000 voters.
Wow.
And a lot
That's
of those
unreal.
thousands of voters were from the 11223 area where this man was running. He was a Russian man. He spoke very poor English. In any case, he's a wonderful man. His name was Ari Kagan. He got elected by 800 votes.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, I was invited to McDonald Avenue Playground, and Marty Marr, the commissioner of parks, was there, and our councilmen were there, and they gave me a $9 million check.
Wow.
That's what we call a sleigh.
That's what we call
Woo.
swag.
That's unreal. Graham, tell us what we're looking at here.
This was gifted to me by the food pantry. We ran an event. I taught a cooking lesson with 175 women who donated to this cause, and they gifted me this beautiful poster with my mother's picture. I donated it in my mother's name, and her favorite saying was, "This too shall pass." And it's a great motto to live by, because when you're going through tough things, and we all do, you think that there's no light at the end of the tunnel, there's no end, but it does end. The clock turns and it does change. And if you're patient enough and you believe enough, it will pass. So this too shall pass is definitely one I live by. And it says, "Dear Mom, it's been so many years since you've been gone, but we continue to follow in your amazing footsteps, and we miss and love you." She would always say, "You are my future. You are my legacy." So when you go out and do great things, people will say, "Well, isn't that Lillian Ajmi's daughter that did that?" And she lives on through what we do. And that is something I want to give my grandchildren, that I live on through what they do. And I have to say, I'm very proud of my children. My children have learned by my example, and they are giving back. My daughter Linda Ebani has been youth director to 2 generations of community children through camping and through events. This girl had a $2 million education. She could have done anything. And she chose to do this, and she gives back every single day to our community kids. I mean, she has a degree in psychology. She has a degree in physical education. I mean, she's amazing. My son Eddie sits on the community board and is president of Kings Highway Beautification, a thankless job for several years, carrying the torch. And my daughter Raquel Savdi is amazing. She's vice principal at Imagine Academy for Special Needs Children. So I think they learned the lesson. My daughter Annie is amazing in so many ways. I can't even tell you the things she does. She's so spiritual, and she gives back to every one of her friends and family.
I'm so happy
Perspective shift.
I got to meet you and
Oh,
learn
me
so
too.
much from you. I'm very inspired. I'm going to
Oh,
cry.
I'm glad.
Graham, if
Me
there's
too.
one life lesson, and you could say it, whatever one you want, that's just the one that I like. But if there's one life lesson you could give to all the people that are listening, what would it be? And share a little bit about it.
I'll go back to my words: resilience, trust, loyalty, showing up, making a difference. Think about your legacy. Don't wait till the last third of your life. Start to think about your legacy now. How can I give back? How can I make a difference? Maybe it's just by showing up, and that's how I'm going to do it. Maybe it's by registering to vote so that our community has a say in their local government and what happens to them. I so believe in the voting. This is my new passion, and it's consuming me because I believe that our community is so underregistered. And they think it doesn't affect their lives, but it affects their lives in so many ways. I think of my grandsons going out into the world. They're coming out of colleges. They're going to get jobs in finance and in New York City life. And I know that a bad mayoralty will affect their future in the next 4 years. I'm out there on the streets signing up voters. We're up to almost 1,000 in a few weeks.
Amazing.
I mean, it's only the tip of the iceberg. We have 30,000 more to go. I just wish people would think about how their government affects their life. And it does. If you really think about it, it affects your life. It affects how your neighborhoods look. It affects how
Your husband's business, your taxes.
your husband's business, if your taxes go up. It affects a lot of things. Your safety and your security in your community are affected greatly by, your local government and how friendly you are with your mayor and with your council people and with your local elected officials. And you can't make a difference there unless you register to vote. So if you do one thing to change life, register to vote. That's a pretty easy thing.
Pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. Just register to vote. Stop at one of our tables and register to vote. Say to yourself, I want to make a difference. And this is how I'm going to start. Start in small ways. You don't have to take big leaps. I don't think I did it in big leaps. I think I did it in small ways that led to other small ways that led to other things. And that's how things happen. They start small and they grow. You don't have to start at the top of the barrel. Start small. Take it on.
To end it off, what's a book that you'd recommend everyone read?
So I think one of the great books that I read was Happiness is a Choice, which I totally believe in. I think happiness is a choice. You choose to be happy or you don't choose to be happy. So, whatever your life situation is, you could say my glass is half empty or you could say my glass is half full. I choose to be happy. I choose to be an optimist. It is my choice. So I think that if you think about it, and you have to think about it, you do, that book could help you to choose. Another great book is How to
Make friends and influence
Make
people.
Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. It's a great book because it teaches you how to make connections, and those connections can help you in whatever you decide you want to do. So those two I think would be great. It's a great start. And I mean, I have so many books that I love, and I believe in reading. I think it's a way of learning. It's an easy way of learning. And, everybody should pick up a couple of great books and learn from them.
Graham, thank you so much
Thank
for chatting with us, being on the podcast, giving us all your wise words of wisdom and encouragement. It's really so much to unpack here. And I really just want to say that I have so much respect. I learned so much from you. You're one of my biggest role models. So I love you. And thank you so much for
You're
being
my
on
first grandchild.
She's carrying the torch. Don't worry.
She is my first grandchild, and she was my only granddaughter for 18 years.
Wow.
here. Yeah.
So she definitely
We're
has
very
a very
close.
special place in this family.
I love you. Thank you so much for doing this. And I hope that everybody gets as much out of this as we did today.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.